Okay, so getting into the second volume of Black Panther Shuri, we actually do pick up with Shuri giving a powerful speech to the public of Wakanda. And the reason why, because this picks up a couple of days after the aftermath of the first volume, where basically Shuri became the Black Panther and she fought against Morlan, who came to Wakanda and he completely wrecked Wakanda. Not completely, but he did some good damage to Wakanda. But either way, though, it's her kind of giving a powerful speech to talk to the people, to tell the people, do not worry, we can rebuild from what we have lost. Our brother and sisters that we have lost would want us to move on, to rebuild Wakanda, to make Wakanda better. And I'm here standing with you to help you and for you to help me to make Wakanda better. And so it's really Shuri stepping into the Black Panther role while her brother T'Challa is healing up from his injuries from Doctor Doom and Namor. But then we see that on the news channels across Wakanda, you have people kind of talking about the idea of someone who is unexperienced stepping into the role of Black Panther. Because the Black Panther is the protector of Wakanda. It should be someone who's very experienced. Now, this is really more of the idea that people hate when women are put in charge, because with Shuri being in charge, instantly you have people having issues with her being in charge because they say that she is unexperienced. How in the world can we trust her to protect Wakanda, even though she just did protect Wakanda when Morlan came by and attacked Wakanda? But again, there are people out there kind of like, can we actually trust her? Like, she's not really experienced enough to be a Black Panther. But at the same time, it's kind of like when T'Challa became Black Panther, he was also unexperienced. But we all gave him a pass. So why not give Shuri a pass as well? Now we do pick up with Shuri again, except this time she is in America, because right now she's telling America that she is the new person in charge of Wakanda. And so with that being said, it's her announcing to America, but also to the world, that she is in charge of her home country, Wakanda. Now with that being said, she is confronted by Everett Ross. Now Ross has been around for a good period of time in Marvel Comics, and matter of fact, Black Panther knows a lot about him. But either way, apparently Everett Ross has been assigned to stay with Shuri to kind of spy on her, because if she's going to be in America and tell America that she is the new leader of Wakanda, of course, America wants some intel on her, so why not send Everett Ross, who was originally close to T'Challa? But with all that being said right now, you basically have Shuri kind of tell Everett Ross that she is working on figuring out who attacked her brother. Now, we know who attacked him. It is Doctor Doom. And we all know that she possibly knows by now. But she's not going to tell Everett Ross anything at all, because Wakanda wants to keep that a secret and deal with this problem on their own. But that is the moment they do get attacked by some unknown villain. Now we do jump over to Wakanda, where we actually pick up with Black Panther right now working out in physical therapy. Now of course, he's having a hard time walking because he's trying to push himself back into shape so that he can become the Black Panther once again. But all the doctors told him that it would take some time before he is able to walk again. But the Black Panther, T'Challa, he does not want to wait at all. Even when Storm tells him, listen, your legs are still weak, he remembers when Doctor Doom called him weak at the end of our last video. And so right now it's him kind of pushing himself to get back in that perfect shape once again, even when everyone's telling him to take it easy. Now, getting back over to America, where Shuri was just attacked in, we do see that she was attacked by some kinds of assassins. Now, the assassins do not have a name for themselves. They're just some assassins who were able to get cybernetic upgrade to kind of give them the edge when they're sent out on missions to kill people. But either way, right now, they're trying to kill Shuri. But Shuri, of course, being the main character of this book, but also also a well-trained fighter, is able to actually defeat these guys after a few pages. But here comes the big question though. Who are these guys? Where did they come from? And why are they attacking Shuri? And do these guys have some kind of connection to Doctor Doom in some kind of weird way? Now, later on that day, you do have Shuri meeting up with her council, and with her council talking to one another, they're basically trying to figure out where did those assassins come from. Now, while they're talking to one another, you do have one of the members of her council tell Shuri that they realize that some of the tech, their jetpacks, came from Wakanda, because Wakanda air guards use the same kind of jetpacks as well. And so it's kind of like, okay, how in the world did these assassins get their hands on our jetpacks? On top of that, the rest of their tech came from Stark, aka Tony Stark, aka Iron Man. And so now it's kind of like there is some force out there that gave a bunch of assassins Wakanda tech and Tony Stark tech. And the big question is now, how in the world did they get their hands on those techs? That is the big question at the moment. Now, getting back over to Black Panther, or T'Challa, sorry, remember, he's trying to push himself back into shape. He's trying to get ready so that he can become the Black Panther once again, because the words of Doctor Doom echoes in his mind. He hates the idea of Doctor Doom being right. And so it's him right now trying to push himself back into top shape. And so we see him going to a hidden room. And in that hidden room is, of course, his best warriors, the Dora Milajes, the best warriors who usually fight alongside their king or queen. And so with that being said, he's going to use them as a way to train his body to get his body back into top shape once again. Now, when we get into the second chapter of this book, we actually pick up with Shuri still in America, right now in Wakanda's embassy, and she's talking to her council, trying to get some answers on who in the world attacked her. Where did those assassins come from? Now, they do know two things. The first thing is that part of the jetpacks that the assassins used was Wakanda's tech. On top of that, the weapons they used belong to Tony Stark. And so the big question is now, does Tony Stark have a hand in this attack? But of course, that gets played down real quickly, because at this moment, Tony Stark and Stark Industries is going through a few things. And so you have her council tell her, no, Queen Shuri, there's no way that Tony Stark is behind this. It must be someone else. But that is the moment you have the leader of their council say, there is a third kind of a component, a third piece of their gear. And this third piece of this gear is neither Wakanda's tech or Tony Stark's tech. It belongs to a different group of people. And of course, that group is Atlantean, meaning that it came from Atlantis, which could mean Namor, who might have a hand in this. And this is huge, because remember, in Volume 1, Black Panther originally met up with Namor, but when he was leaving the home of Namor, that was when he was attacked by Doctor Doom. And so now the big question is Namor working with Doctor Doom? Is Namor trying to get rid of Shuri as well, like he tried to get rid of T'Challa? Now, of course, with Shuri not being in Wakanda, you have the news channels in Wakanda beginning to talk bad about her, because they're kind of like, Wakanda is rebuilding. Wakanda is going through a lot at the moment, and she's not here in our country actually helping out with the rebuilding. Right now, she's across the world in different countries, and to them, it seems like she's having a good old time. But in reality, she was just attacked. She's trying to figure out who in the world attacked her and how can she stop them. And so while you have these news channels kind of talking bad about her, she has to ignore it and continue to figure out who these assassins belong to, who's trying to get rid of her and her brother. And could there be traitors in Wakanda working with these forces to get rid of her and her brother? Getting back over to Wakanda, you do have the doctors actually tell Ramonda and Storm to tell T'Challa to take it easy. And the reason why? Because he has lost his connection to the Panther God, meaning that he is just an ordinary man. Now, as soon as the doctor says he is just an ordinary man, Ramonda, the mother to Shuri but the stepmother to T'Challa, gets very angry because she says her stepson is nothing like a regular person. He is not ordinary at all. He is on another complete level. And so for you to think that he would take it easy, you're crazy. And Storm realized, like, she knows her husband because they're married at this point, that her husband was not going to take it easy at all. He's going to try to push himself to get back in shape once again. Now, getting back over to Shuri, Shuri can't believe that the Atlantean tech that was found on the bodies of the assassins could have a connection to the stolen tech from Wakanda and the stolen tech from Tony Stark's place. And so it's kind of like, what in the world is going on? Because this is Shuri telling us that T'Challa still have not told her that he was meeting up with Namor back in Volume 1 video. On top of that, he has not told her that he was attacked by Doctor Doom. Because to her, she's kind of like, why is Atlantean tech being used alongside with Wakanda tech and Tony Stark tech? Is Namor behind this? It can't be, because at this point in Marvel Comics, Namor and Black Panther are close friends. And the reason why I say that's because, of course, Namor and Black Panther have not fought against each other like they will do in Avengers vs. X-Men or in Jonathan Hickman's Avengers and New Avengers. And so they're good friends. And so to Shuri, she's kind of like, this makes no sense. But then her counsel tell her, well, listen, Queen, we need to send you to New Jersey because apparently a lot of data coming from there could give us an idea on what in the world is going on. Because when they were going through the different tech, they realized that this tech could have came from New Jersey by some kind of warehouse. And so it's Black Panther Shuri going over to that warehouse and hopefully to find a hard drive to gather information on who could be behind the attacks on her brother and her as well. Now, when Shuri does arrive in New Jersey to the warehouse and she begins the process of taking out all of the guards, also finding the main computer hard drive so that she'll be able to gather some kind of information from that hard drive, well, that is the moment she is confronted by another assassin. And this assassin name is Oyaku, and I really hope I pronounced that name correctly. But either way, Oyaku was sent here by the same people who sent those earlier assassins to kill Shuri. And so now the big question is, who is Oyaku working for? At the same time, what do they want? But either way, this does lead into a big battle between Oyaku and Shuri, and they do go back and forth for a good period of time. But of course, while they're fighting against each other, the forces behind all of these attacks recently is actually watching Shuri fight against Oyaku, and they're hoping that Oyaku will be able to actually defeat Shuri. But this is also the moment we come to find out this unknown force could be people who are traitors from Wakanda. They have broken away from Wakanda, and the reason why I say that's because the people behind the scenes who are watching Shuri fight against Oyaku, they begin to say that the new tech, the new weapons that Shuri is using came from one of their best people, and they know that person. And so these people are from Wakanda, and for some reason they broke away and began the process of betraying their old country to hopefully get rid of Shuri. But they say, listen, with the information she gathered, don't worry, that's going to lead her into another fight. And that fight is going to be against Namor. And Namor is a very powerful character. And the forces behind the scenes who are trying to kill off Shuri, they're hoping that with the information that Shuri has gathered will lead her to Namor, and Namor can go ahead and take care of Shuri for them so that they can go ahead and continue on with their plans. Because Namor is a very powerful and capable character. Now, getting back over to Shuri fighting against Oyaku, their battle does go on for a couple more pages, but that is the moment you have the Council of Shuri tell her some bad news, that right now more assassins are on their way, which means that Shuri must hurry up and leave before she is captured or killed by all of these assassins, including Oyaku as well. And so Shuri is able to escape. Now, to these assassins, they believe that they're going to get fired, but in reality, you have Oyaku say, no, we're not going to get fired. We did what we were hired to do, to keep her busy, to gather information about her. And so our mission is actually completed. Let's go ahead and leave now. Now, we do pick up with T'Challa right now meeting up with Zaravari, and I really hope I pronounced that name correctly, but Zaravari was the one in our last video to send Storm into Limbo as a way to retrieve the soul of T'Challa. Now, with all that being said, it is now T'Challa actually coming over to Zaravari, basically asking him for help to use magic to bring him back into top shape, because T'Challa still cannot wait. The words of Dr. Doom keep replaying in his mind over and over again. You are weak. You are not a strong king. It keeps replaying in his mind over and over again. And so basically it's T'Challa coming to Zaravari, basically asking him to use dark magic, something that T'Challa used to hate, as a way to bring him back into top shape. And actually, it seems like it's beginning to work on T'Challa. But getting back over to Wakanda, we basically see right now on the news channel, people are beginning to lose their trust in Shuri. And what I mean by that is, two banks, the biggest banks in Wakanda, are closing down, and Shuri's not here to actually deal with that problem. She's still in America trying to figure out who attacked her and her brother in the last volume. And so right now, it's basically the people of Wakanda getting very upset because now Wakanda is losing their two biggest banks. And that means a lot of money is being lost now in Wakanda, and Shuri and the royal family are not helping out. No one has seen T'Challa, no one has seen Ramonda, Shuri's still in America, they sent in Storm, but Storm is no longer the queen of Wakanda because T'Challa has stepped down and Shuri has taken over as the queen and ruler of Wakanda. And so now the people are kind of like, you send in Storm, and Storm is a foreigner. She's not from Wakanda. We want answers. You should be here helping Wakanda rebuild after the attack of Morlan. But while the news are talking about this, we see Dr. Doom, the one who attacked T'Challa in our last video, also watching the news. But getting back over to Shuri in America, you have Shuri's team go through all the data that she has gathered from the hard drive from that warehouse in New Jersey. But with all the data, only one thing keeps popping up, a code name. The code name is Rex. Now you would think this code name could be very important, but at the same time, Namor used that name as a nickname, but sometimes a nickname for other things in the world that apparently makes him very angry. And so with that being said, it's kind of like, is Namor really behind this? Or is somebody out there actually using one of the names of Namor as a code name as they're working behind the scenes trying to get rid of Shuri and T'Challa? There are so many questions on the board right now, but of course, none of them have been answered yet at all. But getting back over to Wakanda, we actually do pick up with the news channel still talking about what happened to T'Challa in our last volume, how he was attacked by some unknown force. They have no idea it was Doctor Doom. And so with that being said, they want answers. They want to know what in the world is going on with the royal family and who attacked their former king T'Challa, who has stepped down. And while the news are talking about this, you have Namor also watching the news. And so it's Namor and Doctor Doom both watching the news reports coming out of Wakanda. And that is huge to say. But getting back over to Shuri, well, that is the moment you had the Council of Shuri tell Shuri some good news, that they were able to gather more information from the data that she had received from that warehouse in New Jersey. And what they have learned is that two people who used to be former military who would have access to Wakanda technology are right now here in America. And apparently their bank accounts were just hit with some very huge amount of money. And so with that being said, it's kind of like these two people who used to be living in Wakanda, used to be former military, who have access to that tech, and they just got a big payday, could give us some answers on who is doing this behind the scenes, trying to get rid of you and your brother. And so with that being said, that is the moment you have Shuri say she's going to go to Brooklyn to hopefully gather more information on the people who could be behind all of this and trying to get rid of her. But getting back over to T'Challa, who went to Zavari to eat those herbs, we do see that Black Panther is once again confronted by another kind of god. Now we are left to believe that this could be the Panther god, and it could be. It could be T'Challa coming back to the Panther god to rebuild the connection that he had lost. Because remember, the doctors did say that he has lost his connection to the Panther god, and it could be him going back to the Panther god to reconnect with the Panther god to be the Black Panther once again. Now, getting back to the members of this unknown organization that is trying to get rid of Shuri, well, that is the moment they begin to talk about the idea of Shuri fighting against Namor once again. Because with the data that Shuri has gathered and the code name that she had learned, Rex, which is an old code name Namor used to use for himself or people he does not like, it means that Shuri is on her way to fight against Namor very soon. And if Shuri dies by the hands of Namor, it's a win-win for this new evil organization. On top of that right there, if Shuri is able to actually get rid of Namor, it's still a win-win for this evil organization. And so right now it's kind of like, whoever dies is still a win-win for this organization. And so the big question is now, what are they actually planning on to do? Now, you do have Shuri actually call in help, and this help is a perfect kind of help. And that help is Mr. Fantastic, the leader of the Fantastic Four. Because a lot of folks forget this, when Black Panther first appeared in Marvel Comics, it was Fantastic Four number 50, I want to say. But either way, the Fantastic Four and Black Panther, they have a very strong friendship. And Shuri knows that. And so it's Shuri calling up Mr. Fantastic to tell him some very bad news, that she had learned that apparently a lot of different things that had happened to her and her brother have some kind of connection to Namor. And of course, Namor is another character that the Fantastic Four have fought against alongside with, and also there's some love issues between Reed Richards, Sue Storm, and Namor as well, a very weird love triangle. And so it's Mr. Fantastic saying, wait, if you're saying Namor could possibly have a hand in the attacks on you and your brother, I need to know everything now. But getting back over to T'Challa, we see T'Challa waking up after meeting the Panther God. And we come to find out that apparently the test went well. He is okay, and apparently he's back in top shape once again. which could be a good thing because a lot of things are about to pop off very soon for Wakanda and T'Challa and Shuri. Now, getting back over to Wakanda, we actually see that Storm is on live television. And the reason why, because she's being interviewed by some reporters who want to know what in the world is going on with Shuri and T'Challa, because banks are closing down, the market is crashing. There is a food shortage, a job shortage. Wakanda is going through a lot right now. And apparently Shuri nor T'Challa is actually helping out to protect Wakanda, because this all is happening after Shuri gave that powerful speech at the very beginning of this video, where she basically say Wakanda is going to be rebuilt after the attack of Morlan. But where is Shuri? Where is T'Challa? The country is falling apart. They send in Storm as a way to kind of put a blanket over all the different problems. But of course, that blanket can't cover up all the problems and the distrust that is growing right now in the people towards their queen and king. Now, getting back over to Shuri, Shuri went into Brooklyn to hopefully go meet up with one of the two former military people from Wakanda who got a big paycheck. And so when she gets into Brooklyn and she finds that guy, she demands the guy to tell her why in the world is he attacking his old country? Why is he attacking her and her brother? And that is the moment he say, because I don't like you nor your family. Me and my people I work for or work with, we believe that you guys have brought a lot of disgrace to our country. You have ruined our country. You and your family, you and your brother especially, have changed Wakanda into something that he cannot stand to look at. And he's hoping to get rid of her and her brother to hopefully bring Wakanda into a new era. And of course, he says, you're not really a good Black Panther, because if you were, you would have not walked into this trap. And that is the moment he shows her that he has a bomb strapped to his chest, and of course, the bomb does go off. But before we are able to actually learn if Shuri is alive or dead, we do jump back over to Wakanda to see that T'Challa is continue to train to make sure that his body is back in top shape once again, so that he'll be able to take over the mantle of Black Panther to help his sister to bring down possibly Dr. Doom as well. And so it's him right now just continuing to train and get his body back in the top shape once again. But getting back over to Shuri, we do learn that Shuri is alive and well. And the reason why I say that is because, well, we see her being able to walk out of the building that just blew up. But that is the moment she is once again confronted by more assassins who are trying to get rid of her. And so it seems like no matter where she goes, she is always confronted by assassins who want to get rid of her and her brother. But getting into the 4th chapter of this book, we actually do pick up with Shuri fighting against all of the assassins that she has met so far. And this fight does go on for a few pages. So it is Shuri trying to fight against all these different assassins with all these different kind of tech and weapons they have on them. But of course, to have the story move forward, Shuri must win this fight. And so Shuri is able to take each and every single one of these guys out one by one. To the point, by the time we reach the end of this section, she won. She won the battle so easily. So now we can move forward with this storyline. But getting back over to Wakanda, we see that the people are continuing to lose their trust in Shuri, T'Challa, and Storm. The people are beginning to turn their back on the royal family, and that is huge to say. Now, the reason why I say that is because the news reports are saying that. The people are afraid that Wakanda is going to completely fall apart. There are too many problems going on in Wakanda, and the royal family are doing nothing to actually help out. And so all of this is too much for the people to continue on. Now, the new evil organization behind the scenes trying to get rid of Shuri, get rid of T'Challa, they are also the ones who are trying to make Wakanda fall apart so that the people will lose their trust in their kings and queens, the royal family. They're the ones who are able to have the banks closed down and have the food shortages and the job shortages. They're behind the scenes just pulling strings left and right. But this new evil organization is also working alongside with Doctor Doom. So yes, it's Doctor Doom plotting to do something big, and we have no idea what it is just yet. Now, picking back up with Storm, we actually do see Storm trying to use her powers, which does give her the ability to control the weather to hopefully bring in some rain to help the food grow in Wakanda. But here comes the big problem though. Storm begins to realize that something must be going on behind the scenes, because usually around this season, food grows easily, and food is not growing so easily, which means to Storm, this is unnatural. Somebody did this on purpose. Somebody is trying to prevent the food from growing. The big question is though, who? Who is doing this? And we know who. It's that new evil organization behind the scenes trying to cause problems for Wakanda, Shuri, and T'Challa. But getting back over to Shuri, you do have Shuri call into her council to tell her council that she is alive and well. But of course, she did hear a certain word, and this word is pronounced as Destori, and I really hope I pronounced that word correctly. But Destori is a very special word, and the reason why I say that is because one of the Dora Milajes explains to Shuri that she has heard that word before, and that word's meaning as well, because apparently this certain Dora Milaje had to leave when she got injured, and while she was walking around Africa doing different kinds of mercenary jobs, she met a lot of people. And that word came up, and those people who said that word were of course bad people. But this is the Dora Milaje telling Shuri that usually that word means that there is a group of people who want to go back into the old ways, meaning that they do not like the new ways, saying that Shuri and the royal family have basically ruined Wakanda, and Wakanda needs to go back to the old ways. And so that means more problems are to come down the road thanks to this certain group of people. Now, getting back over to T'Challa, we see T'Challa continuing to get his body back in the top shape, but to also find new ways to enhance his body, because he knows that Doctor Doom is a very powerful villain, and because he lost to Doctor Doom and he wants to get revenge against Doctor Doom, he must be ready for Doctor Doom. And so right now it's basically T'Challa pushing his body to new heights, taking on new kind of magic to hopefully bring his body to new heights so that he'll be able to actually fight against Doctor Doom. But the Dora Milajes who are with Black Panther T'Challa, they're trying to tell him that they are warriors. They have turned their back against magic. But this is T'Challa saying war has changed. Time has changed, and with things changing, the warriors must change. And with the warriors must change, warriors must use things they usually don't use. And that means for us, magic. We must use magic as a way to get revenge against Doctor Doom. Now, getting back over to Storm, Storm does get a call from Shuri, and it's Shuri checking up on Storm in Wakanda, and you have Storm tell her what she realized about the crops in Wakanda, that they're not growing, which is unnatural, that something is going on with the food, which means something's going on with a lot of different things in Wakanda behind the scenes. And we know that it's Doctor Doom and this new evil organization who are right now pulling strings behind the scenes to bring Wakanda down, because they want to go back to the old ways of Wakanda. And apparently Doctor Doom must have promised them that he can take Wakanda back into the old ways. But then you have Storm tell Shuri that she has not talked to her husband in a very long time. T'Challa has been away, and we know that T'Challa has been away trying to get his body back in the top shape, and that worries Storm and Shuri as well. But of course, they must continue to push on. But of course, it seems like something big is about to happen into Wakanda. But getting back over to T'Challa, we see T'Challa continue to push his body to fighting against wizards who are attacking his body with magic. But of course, this is him trying to take his body to an all new kind of level, to make him stronger, to make him better, so that he'll be ready for Doctor Doom and the war to come down the road. And so this section really ends with T'Challa being able to reach an all new kind of power level. He is stronger and faster than he was originally, and that right there is very important. But getting back over to Shuri, we do see Shuri and her team continuing to go through the data that they have gathered over the last couple of days in America. But one of the pieces of data that they have gathered is actually, and I repeat this, actually a piece of the black box from the jet that T'Challa had used to go meet up with Namor. And with that black box, of course, it recorded the conversations that were happening on the jet. Of course, T'Challa talking to his Dora Milajes. And so that is the moment you have Shuri learn that Black Panther was meeting up with Namor. And so now to Shuri, that means Namor was the one who had attacked Black Panther, but she does not know in reality it was Doctor Doom who attacked Black Panther after Black Panther had his meeting with Namor. But either way, is Shuri now going after Namor because she believes he was the one who attacked her brother, because her brother never told her what really went down in the last video. And so to wrap up the 4th chapter of this book, we see Shuri getting ready to go meet up with Namor, and she's on the call with Mr. Fantastic, and it's him telling her that he has been trying to call up Namor because Shuri has shared the same information that she had just learned with him. And of course, Namor is not answering Mr. Fantastic nor Shuri. And so this is Shuri saying that she is going to meet up with Namor to talk to him. If he refused to talk to her, she'll make sure that he does talk to her, meaning that if he ignores her, they're going to get in a big fight, and she has a new armor to basically fight against him to make him talk. And so now we're getting into the big battle between Namor and Shuri. Now, of course, when we get into the 5th chapter of this book, we actually do pick up with Shuri meeting up with Namor. Now, this is Shuri really believing that Namor had betrayed Black Panther, because at this point in Marvel Comics, T'Challa and Namor were like best buds. They were not at odds at all just yet until Avengers vs. X-Men. But this is Shuri saying, with all the information that she has gathered, the black box basically showing her that T'Challa was going to see Namor. Namor must have been the one who attacked T'Challa. Now we know it was Doctor Doom because we saw it in our last video, but Shuri does not know that yet. But either way, you do have Shuri confront Namor, and she tells Namor that she knows that he was the one to betray her brother, that he's the one who attacked her brother. And so you have Namor kind of like, you are highly misinformed. There's no way I did that. I respect your brother. Your brother and I are close friends, close allies. Why in the world would I do that to your brother? And so he begins to walk away. And that was a mistake to Shuri, because to Shuri, she's kind of like, you're not just going to walk away from me after I just told you I know you're the one who attacked my brother. And so she begins the process of actually attacking Namor. Now, this fight is very important because it's Shuri fighting someone who's a powerhouse. She did in her last video against Morlan, but this is Namor. Namor is somebody in Marvel Comics who has been around for a very long time. He's a very capable fighter, and at first it does look like Shuri is able to hold her own against Namor with all the different technology that she has under her belt. But of course, this is Namor. Once he does reach the water, he's a whole completely different person. He comes out of the water and he begins to beat down on her instead. But while the two characters are fighting against each other, Doctor Doom is watching the fight, and Doctor Doom allies, this new evil organization, is also watching the fight. And we do learn one of the members of this new evil organization is known as the Broker. But either way, they're watching this fight, and they're hoping that Namor or Shuri die. Heck, they're hoping that both of them die. But either way, this battle is getting very intense. Now we do pick up with T'Challa, and we see T'Challa with his Dora Milajes, and they just wrapped up a training session. But this is T'Challa kind of giving them a pep talk to tell them that what is going to happen down the road, which is going after Doctor Doom. And Doctor Doom is a fierce villain, a powerful villain, and the robots he have is also very powerful. And so with that being said, it's T'Challa telling the Dora Milajes, we need to be ready. We need to be fierce. We need to be strong warriors, because what we are about to face could change us as a person. But also, we're doing this for Wakanda. And so it's T'Challa trying to get everybody motivated to what to come down the road very soon. But things are getting worse in Wakanda. And what I mean is that we jump over to Storm, because remember, she is married to T'Challa. But right now you have Storm with some scientists trying to figure out what in the world is going on with the crops in Wakanda, because they're not growing. That's not natural at all. And so that is the moment you have some random people begin to attack the scientists that came with Storm. And Storm gets very angry because she's confused on why these people are attacking these innocent people who are trying to help the crops grow so that people in Wakanda can eat again. But at the same time, these people are the same kind of people who believe that Black Panther and Shuri and their family should leave, and Wakanda should go back to its old ways, that the new ways has hurt and changed Wakanda and made Wakanda bad. And so right now these people are trying to paint a picture that Storm, who's right now using her powers as a way to defend herself and the scientists with her, are actually bad people. Look at Storm using her powers on innocent people who are just upset and hungry. It's Doctor Doom and his new evil organization working together to paint a picture that Storm is an evil person, and how can she be a princess in Wakanda when she's attacking Wakanda people, and she's not even Wakandan at all. But getting back over to the battle between Shuri and Namor, we do come to find out that Namor won the battle, that he was able to actually defeat Shuri. Now that is the moment you actually have the Fantastic Four step in. And the reason why, because Reed Richards was able to realize that both Shuri and Namor have been played. They have been tricked. Somebody is trying to put them against each other to get them out of the way. But either way, it's someone else behind the scene pulling the strings. And we know who that person is. It's no other than Doctor Doom. And it seems like Reed Richards may have figured out what in the world is going on right now with Wakanda and Atlantis. And so you have Reed Richards explain that whoever is behind the scenes pulling the strings, their main goal was to make sure that Shuri does attack Namor. And so with that information being told right now, it's Mr. Fantastic telling Shuri, listen very carefully, Namor was framed so that you can go after him and basically kill him. But either way, Namor is an innocent man, because Namor and your brother are basically best friends. And so whoever is behind the strings, or behind the scenes, pulling the strings, they wanted you to go after Namor. And so they framed Namor to make you believe he was the one who attacked your brother. But in reality, it wasn't him. Now, with all that being said, you do have Reed Richards point out that he may know who it was, a character known as the Broker. And the Broker apparently is the one kind of helping Doctor Doom behind the scenes at the moment. And so now it's Shuri and Namor and the Fantastic Four about to go after the Broker. And so you have Dr. Doom call up the broker to tell him that, listen, Shuri and her team are beginning to figure everything out, meaning that sooner or later they're going to come after you, broker. And so you have the broker say, don't worry, I'm ready for them. And that is the moment we see a bunch of C-list, D-list villains behind him getting ready to defend him against Shuri and Namor and the Fantastic Four. But getting into the final chapter of this story, we actually do pick up with the Fantastic Four, Shuri and Namor heading for Broker's Island because they know where he is located at and they plan on finally taking him down. Now, with all that being said, you do have some people of the Fantastic Four kind of worried about them going up against the Broker, but this is Shuri reassuring them that they are ready and they can do it and they will bring down the Broker for everything he has done. Now, with all that being said, they still don't know that Dr. Doom also has a hand in this. And so right now it's them believing that the Broker was the one behind all the different attacks that has been happening both in Volume 1 and Volume 2 as well. But getting back over to Wakanda, we actually pick up with Storm calling her husband T'Challa because she needs his help right now because the people of Wakanda are asking for him and he has not come out and talked to them yet. But when she calls him up, he basically says that he is no longer their king and she is no longer their queen, that he is going to turn his back on his own people. Now we know T'Challa has some secret plan up his sleeve if he's going to do this. But right now, it's him saying, I'm going to step away from protecting Wakanda. I am going to step away from being your husband. And that is the moment you have Storm get under arrest. And the reason why, because earlier she did attack those people who attacked the scientists who were trying to help Storm figure out what in the world is going on with the crops. But because she used her powers on what they believe were innocent people, she is now being under arrest and she calls out for T'Challa, but it's T'Challa saying, hey, I'm sorry, I can't help you. And he hangs up the call. But getting back over to Shuri, Namor, and the Fantastic Four, we do see them flying over to Broker's Island. But while they're flying over to Broker's Island, well, that is the moment their jet gets attacked by one of the many villains that the Broker has hired. And he used this villain as a way to get rid of their jet. Now, while you have Shuri, the Fantastic Four, and Namor fighting against this villain and more to come down the road, you actually have Dr. Doom contact the Broker. And the Broker says, listen, they're here and they're going to figure out it was me and you. Now, you do have Dr. Doom basically ask the Broker to give him 1 hour, meaning that keep these characters busy for 1 hour. That's all he needs to complete his master plan. And the big question is now, what is Dr. Doom's master plan? But either way, that is the moment you have Dr. Doom tell us that he has spies everywhere, including Wakanda. And the spies just told him that T'Challa has left Wakanda. He has left Wakanda behind. He is no longer defending it. And on top of that right there, Storm has been under arrest. And so it's Dr. Doom realizing that his plan is coming together better than he thought it would. But getting back over to the battle between Shuri, the Fantastic Four, and Namor against all the villains that were hired by the Broker, this battle does get very intense. It's basically the Broker really trying to give Dr. Doom that 1 hour like he asked for. And he's trying everything he can to give Dr. Doom that 1 hour. But either way, the heroes are finding different ways to survive and finding different ways to actually fight back and win their battle against the forces of the Broker. But getting back over to Wakanda, we basically see that right now the people who were trying to remove T'Challa, remove Shuri, Storm, and the royal family have completed their goal because they make a big powerful speech that can be heard all across Wakanda, and it's them saying, listen, Wakanda has changed. Wakanda has fallen apart. Wakanda needs to go back to its old ways. So let our people move in and we can begin the process of actually making Wakanda better. And so things are falling apart for Wakanda. And here's the big thing though. This is the final chapter of this volume right here. So it seems like everything is going to end on a huge cliffhanger very soon. But things don't stop there when it comes to getting worse for Wakanda, because remember that evil organization was also working alongside with Doctor Doom. And so that is the moment you actually have Doctor Doom being able to walk into Wakanda thanks to a portal. But with him walking into Wakanda, we kind of find out what's the one thing he always wanted, which of course is vibranium, the one thing Wakanda is known for having, a very powerful type of metal. And it seems like Doctor Doom wants that for some very special reason. Now, to go ahead and wrap up this video, we actually do pick up with Namor and Shuri and the Fantastic Four being able to actually defeat all the forces of the Broker, meaning that now they can move in and try to capture the Broker. The problem is though, when they try to go into his office to hopefully capture him and they think they see him, the Broker is able to escape once again, which means that right now the Broker will be seen down the road in later videos. But either way, that is the moment we come to find out after some time has passed by, T'Challa and Shuri have been working together this whole time. That T'Challa did tell Shuri everything what happened to him back in volume 1. But the reason why Shuri was pretending that she had no idea what in the world was going on, because they both knew that Doctor Doom was watching them. And now Doctor Doom thinks that he has Shuri and T'Challa both on the run. But in reality, those two characters wanted him to think that, meaning that they're going to come back to Wakanda to stop him in the next storyline we could possibly cover called Doom War. But this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. Also, if you have any suggestions on books I should read, well, please let me know in the comments below, because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But I do hope you enjoyed today's comic book video. Later, guys.